Hello, family, and welcome to another episode of Role Model Makers Experts Cafe. I'm your host, Dr. L, the Parent Whisperer, and today with me, I have an amazing human being, Ms. Veronica Sutherland. Thank you for being here and taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us today, Veronica. I wanted to ask you, for our audience members' sake, to tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you got involved in doing what you do. And then we can go from there. I just love how you show up. So let's have this conversation. Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Thank you, Dr. L. Thank you for having me. I am Veronica Sutherland. I am known as the Kingdom Divorce Proof Coach. No, I have a Master of Education in Family Education, but that's not what qualifies me for what I do now. I have been married to the same man for 38 years and counting. And there was a time when, you marry your Prince Charming, and somehow he's an understanding person at the beginning. Everything is going fine. And you think you're riding off into the sunset with him. And
Yeah.
then the prince turns into a frog.
The other way.
So, yes. So there was a time in my marriage when I felt unheard, invalidated. I just felt that I had made the wrong choice. And I wanted to fix my husband. Yes, I had a background in family life education, and so it wasn't my fault. Of course, it could not have been my fault. So it had to be his fault. So I wanted to fix him. And so for many years, I wanted to fix him. I wanted him to be different. And I kept praying to God to fix him. And then God whispered, "You need to change your prayer." And so I thought about it and I prayed, "Well, Lord, since I need to change my prayer, you show me what needs to be done. Show me how I can see him through your eyes." And the Lord said to me, He brought me to Timothy, that verse, "I have not given you a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." So basically, what God was saying to me was that I am showing up with fear. I am giving my power to my husband. And I now needed to change the way I was showing up. I needed to do something about me. And so I had to look inside of me. And this is where I'm coming from with what I do. I don't want wives to be sitting there saying, "Let me fix my husband," when really and by the way, you just can't fix your husband. He is as he is. You can't fix him. And the things he does is not about you. And so I want wives to be able to enjoy their marriages, not to be sitting thinking that their husbands needs fixing. So that's where I'm coming from.
I love it. I love where you're coming from because um, what you're talking about is taking control back over your life,
Yes.
regardless of who's in it. And I love the fact that you make such a bold statement about divorce proofing because with in this day and age where most of the marriages are ending up in the rocks, to
Yeah.
say that is a message of hope. It's a message of empowerment. And it's a message that says, less depends on what's happening to you, more on what you want to happen in your life. And
Yes.
I love the approach that you had that, you prayed and prayed and prayed, and eventually realized you need to change the way you pray.
Yes.
And and that's when the answer started coming, to be able to be flexible, to kind of weave through so that you can get to where you want to go. So I love all of that. There's so much hope and so much positivity in that message and so much control. So
Yes.
thank you for that. All right. So naturally, if this was an easy thing, everybody was doing it. So what are usually the challenges that get in the way of families and partners to stay together?
Okay, so I hinted at one in my introduction. Fear is one.
Mm.
Another one is miscommunication. And another one is unforgiveness or holding on to hurts. We
Got it.
tend to hold on to those hurts.
Right.
And that really gets in the way of us communicating with our partners or
Okay.
connecting with our partners.
All right. Let's discuss fear a little bit. Can you elaborate more about what would that fear be and how it might manifest in life in a relationship?
Okay, so it is fear about how you interact with your partner, fear that you are going to be hurt. Your partner will say things that hurt you. Your partner will do things that hurt you. You will be embarrassed by your partner. It, it, it is, it's those fears
Got
that
it.
gets in the way. And so you shut down when he says things that you feel they are directed at you, and you feel hurt or you feel angry. You start shutting down and not communicating, not connecting as you should, or you do things without thinking.
Perfect.
You know?
Thank you. Next is communication. So when it comes to communication, um, are there things that is it more of how we wish to be communicated to or how we communicate with them or both?
I think it is both. It's how we wish to be communicated to and how we communicate as well. And I like to think of things as misunderstanding, misperceptions. So I can be speaking about love, but love for me has a different meaning than my partner's meaning for love. So I might want love to be his being present at all times, or his being present, let's put it that way, and touching me, hugging, kissing, that sort of thing. While he thinks that loving is working hard and taking care of me, meeting those material needs that I may have. Because, and this could be coming from his experiences. Maybe that's how his father or the men in his family express their love.
Yeah.
And maybe coming from my experiences, that's how the men in my family express love by hugging and being present with their wives. And so that's one major area of misunderstanding. We're not speaking about the same thing when we use words.
So let's actually talk about this as well because like let's focus if it's okay with you, Veronica.
Yeah.
You mentioned that your marriage is going on you're 38 years strong. But you're not the same person, and your expectation of marriage is not the same as 38 years ago. So, how do we adapt and adopt and move forward in time with ourselves and in the relationship? Because it's an evolving thing, right?
Yes, it is. Well, it is recognizing that the way you are communicating now is not getting you anywhere. So if you want to have a strong and resilient marriage, it means changing something in the marriage and looking inside of yourself. There are some things that you can change. There are some things that you cannot change. So it is finding those, recognizing the things that you can change and recognizing those that you can't change. Those that you can't change, you just allow them to be, accept that you cannot change them. Those that you can change, you try to find a way of changing. And it is learning to accept your partner for who he is and recognizing that there are some things he will do that he's not doing it deliberately to hurt you. It is because of how he was brought up or some other reason. It's not that it is intended to hurt you. So it is being you, being free to be you, and allowing your partner the freedom to be himself.
Veronica, you mentioned something a couple of times now that I think is really powerful, and we should really focus on it a little more. And that is the word accept, because there's a difference between accept and tolerate. And people on the receiving end of it know when they're being tolerated versus when they're
Yes.
being accepted. And you
Yes.
see this in community, you see it with racism, you see it in global communities with politics, and you see it in relationships as well. So do you want to elaborate a little bit more on what accepting looks like.
Okay, when you accept somebody, you recognize that they are they have differences from you. It doesn't mean that they have to think the same way that you do. You accept the way they think. God made all of us differently. He gave all of us different gifts, different personalities. And so we have to now look at our partners and look at the differences in them and accepting those differences that God made them that way. It doesn't mean that you you must think the same way that they think. It doesn't mean that. It is just knowing that they are like that and that's how they are, and you can't change them.
Right. Right.
In,
Yeah, go ahead.
yes, in tolerating, it means that you feel the superiority to them. And so, yes, I know that you are like that, but yes, I will tolerate you, but I am not, there is no way that I am going to feel that you are on the same footing as I am.
Well said. Well said. Very cool. All right. So that being the case, and I know that when it comes to that message of hope that, hey, you can divorce proof, you can improve your relationships, you can make a difference in how your life shapes. That's the hopeful part, the nice part, right? But as you mentioned, there needs to be change because otherwise things will stay the same. So, what are some of the challenges in changing so that people have to create within themselves? What are some of those areas that they have to be willing to change?
Okay. I mentioned hurt earlier. And I think that's the first thing. When I'm working with people, that's the first thing I ask them to do, to release the hurt. So, and hurts doesn't necessarily mean hurts from your partner. It's all those hurts that you can think of, those things that happened with your siblings years ago that you are still holding on to, and that helps to cause conflicts in your present marriage. So it's getting rid of, it is releasing the hurts, forgiving people, writing down all of those hurts, and looking for the lesson learned, because all those hurts, there is a lesson somewhere there for us. So embracing the lesson and blessing the hurt feeling that you have. Feel the hurt, feel it, don't suppress it, feel it, bless it, release it.
So
That's the
that
first thing.
what you just mentioned, like we just talked about acceptance and tolerance, being able to accept that hurt as part of you and not deny it by suppressing it allows you to accept yourself. And if you can accept yourself, then you can accept others that much better as well. So,
yes.
Very cool.
Yes. Right. So that is the first change, releasing that hurt. And it is also releasing things that served you well in an earlier season that is not serving you well now. So you need to do that. Right. You also need to find those things that bring you joy and do at least one each day so that you can turn up a joyful person each day. Look for the positives in others, not the negatives.
I'm really glad that you said that, because there are so many people who are like, marriage is work and marriage is compromise, and it just sounds like drudgery. And I'm glad that you mentioned this, that we do need to actually focus on those positives and be proactive about creating it in our lives. So thank you for saying that. Yeah, very cool. Veronica, I know that time is short, and I know that, these type of discussions usually create major breakthroughs. Let's say you want to go ahead and improve your relationship with your spouse, and next thing you know, because you made these breakthroughs, all of a sudden your career and your kids and everything else blossoms too. So how can people connect with you more and have more of this community and support?
They can connect with me at my website, veronicavsutherland.com. veronicavsutherland.com.
Very cool.
Or if you look for me on Facebook, I'm there as well.
Yeah, Veronica has given me a whole bunch of stuff, including a gift. It's a surprise. You guys should go down to the description box right now, click more and you will see she has a lot of different references for you. Please make sure that you do connect with her. It's always things that seem to be big problems in our lives, oftentimes become a lot smaller and a lot more manageable when we have support, when we have community. So please make sure that you reach out. And in doing so, you're also role modeling this behavior for your children, that it is okay to ask for help, that we don't have to have all the answers. And there are actually good people in this world that want to make it better, want to improve our lives and support us. And it's okay to ask for help. So please connect with Veronica. If you also haven't done so, connect with us by clicking subscribe so you get notified of all the amazing experts that show up on the channel, talk about their gifts, their expertise, and stay connected. Veronica, before we finish, any final words for our audience members today?
Yes, be yourself.
Ooh, nice.
Just be yourself, the person God created you to be.
I
Turn
love
up happy every day.
Well said. Well said. Thank you so much, Veronica. This was a delight, and I look forward to future gatherings again. Cheers.
And thank you for having me.